Welcome to the course SPSS Statistical Package for the Social Sciences. So before starting the presentation, let's have a look on all the topics that we are going to cover under this presentation. First, we'll talk about introduction and review, under which we'll talk about SPSS, what is the statistical software and what does it mean, and the whole overview about this SPSS. So when we talk about SPSS, basically this is a software package which is used for statistical analysis, and it allows user to perform complex statistical analysis, data management, and data documentation. And this is a software which is commonly used in social sciences researchers, psychology, sociology, economics, and even though when we talk about healthcare research, even we use SPSS over there too. The next thing is about background of SPSS. So when we talk about background of SPSS, so as we know, SPSS was first formed in the year 1960s, in late 1960s. So over the period of like 50 60 years, like how this SPSS got new format and new kind of a versions. Like right now if we talk about SPSS, so there are multiple versions like 15, there is a 16, 17, 18, 19. So how over the period of time this SPSS actually took growth, and right now if we talk about SPSS, it is acquired by IBM. So what are the new features which are even taken by SPSS? The next thing is about essential features of SPSS. So when we talk about SPSS and its integral features, so we see data management is a very integral thing which comes under this. Like it provide a very good platform under which we can manage data, we can compile data, and we can further analyze data by using various techniques. It also provide descriptive statistics, under which we'll talk about mean, median, mode, minimum, maximum, and even though other kind of techniques too. Data visualization, that is the most important and the interesting part of SPSS, because when we want to see how our data looks, so sometimes through numerical values we are not able to understand in a better way, whereas SPSS give us a unique feature through which we can see like data in a visual form through histogram, through bar graph, and as well as through pie chart. So for example, we talk like we have collected data from some like 2 or 3 states of India, and further we want to know the demographic analysis. So it will give us a very beautiful representation that how many males were there, females were there, their educational criteria, and how many of them were married, unmarried, and their income criteria. So yeah, this is a very unique feature of our SPSS. Further, we talk about the customization, which is an essential feature of SPSS. So even though when we do have a multiple files or multiple variables and we want to compile them, so SPSS give us that unique feature through which we can compile our variables and further we can analyze our data. The next topic that we'll cover, that is the advantage and benefits of SPSS. So SPSS is very user-friendly interface that any person can just with a training, like he can easily use. It is not very complex system for which like you need a learning of a 2-3 years. So yes, just within a span of might be 1 month or a 1.5 month or a very good training, you can easily understand it and further you can use it. Second, it provides us a comprehensive statistical analysis, whether you talk about descriptive statistics or you talk about inferential statistics. Data management, as we have covered it under the essential feature of SPSS. So yes, it provides a very good way of data management system. Then integration and data visualization, these are the another advantage that we see under SPSS. Further, we'll talk about that what are the practical implications of SPSS. Like right now, if we talk like where we can use it, like what are the uses of SPSS, which are the various areas through which in which we can use SPSS, or if we learn SPSS, what are the potential areas where we can go and we can utilize this particular skill. The first one is a research and academia. As you know, like if we are doing a research, especially in a social sciences, so we must know SPSS, because there will be some descriptive statistics that we have to analyze, and without SPSS we will not be able to do. So research and academia is a first integral area where we can use it. Further, we can use it in our business and marketing, because when we do have a bunch of data and we want to analyze the records and the respondents feedback, so in marketing area we can further use SPSS. Healthcare and medicine is another potential area where SPSS can be used when we have a bunch of data and the feedback taken by some practitioner or might be local respondent. So as through SPSS we can easily analyze that data. Government and policy, this is another potential area where we can use SPSS over there. Education and training, quality control and manufacturing, financial services, these are the other areas where we can actually utilize the techniques of SPSS over there. Further, we'll talk about skill enhanced. So if a person go through SPSS training, these are the skills which will be surely enhanced in a person. The first is the statistical analysis. He will be able to know at what moment, what kind of a technique he have to apply. Like if we talk, like in SPSS, there are multiple techniques like a factor analysis, t-test, ANOVA, correlation, regression, and further even we talk about regression, there is a linear regression or multiple regression. So yes, when you know about SPSS, it enhances your skill to know that what kind of a data you have, what are your objective, and further which technique you have to apply over there. Further, you can easily analyze your data, you can easily manage your data, that how basically you have to import your CSV files, your Excel files in a SPSS. It will increase the efficiency of a person and as well as the decision making efforts, we can say, because once you are able to know like which techniques you have to apply and how you can analyze your data, so it comprehensively as holistically it will enhance your multiple skills once you know, and as well as it will help you to know that what kind of a career opportunities are in the market and which will be suitable for you. Like further, like before we talked about the practical implication, so yes, it will help you to know like you can go in a healthcare area, you can go for a government policy, or you can go for marketing, or might be you can go for research and academia. It will help you to know more about your own self. Further, when we talk about how to use SPSS, so we'll talk basically that what are the various steps through which we can use SPSS. Because directly we can't jump on SPSS. We have to first make a Excel file and see, or you can say CSV file, and there is a proper way to prepare that file. And further, we have to import that Excel file uh, into SPSS. So yes, how to code your variables over there, how to import your data. So yes, in this particular step we'll talk like how basically we go from a first to last step, like preparing your Excel file, further importing in a SPSS, further analyzing the data, and further interpreting the data, and in the end how basically you can go for the interpretation in a descriptive way over there. Okay, further we'll talk about material used in full course. So all the essential material that we'll use in a course, we'll talk about that in a detail, like what kind of a material will be important for you through which you can enhance your skills more, and as well as you can be more handy on a SPSS. Further, we'll talk about the various career path that you can choose once you are skilled in the SPSS. We'll talk about that. Layout of a full course, that what are the techniques that we are going to cover under this particular course, whether we talk about SPSS techniques, or we talk about Excel file creation, or we talk about other kind of a techniques that which are essential part of our SPSS. We'll talk about that. Categories of data analysis. Under SPSS, what are the various categories of data analysis that you can actually analyze? Like if I give you example like a descriptive statistics, inferential statistics. So basically what are the various categories that you can analyze under SPSS. We'll talk about that, and as well as we'll cover all of those categories in your course. Factor analysis, yeah, this is the important like technique that again we use like when especially when you are doing exploratory study and you don't know like which are the variables, and then researcher are really keen to analyze the factor that which factor are related to your study, and if you have a multiple variables you want to see like it comes under which category. So factor analysis is a very common technique which is used over there. So we'll obviously we'll learn about factor analysis. Reliability analysis, that how much your data is reliable, because this is the most foremost and the prominent step. If your data is reliable, then only you can proceed with the statistical analysis. Otherwise, if your data is not reliable, you can't proceed with that. So how to calculate the reliability, how to calculate the Cronbach alpha in your data set. So we'll talk about that. So further we'll talk about correlation, that what is a correlation and how we can calculate correlation. Then regression, what is a linear regression or multiple regression, and how basically we can calculate that, and what is the difference between correlation and regression, what kind of a data set you require for these kind of a analysis, and at what moment we have to apply these techniques. We'll talk about that. Another thing is the ANOVA t-test. You might have heard about these tests, and these are a commonly used test in social sciences and as well as a psychology, sociology. So we'll talk about this, like if you have to calculate ANOVA, how you can calculate ANOVA, and for t-test, like how you can calculate t-test, what is the difference in ANOVA and t-test, at what places you can apply these kind of a test. So this is the overview of a table of content. I hope you had a good picture like what are the things that we are going to cover in this presentation. So SPSS stands for Statistical Packages for the Social Sciences. It is a software package used for statistical analysis, data management, and documentation. SPSS allows users to analyze data using a variety of statistical technique, even though from descriptive statistic to advanced multivariate analysis. And this is a very commonly used in a social science researchers, but it can be applied to a wide range of a discipline where statistical analysis is required. Background of SPSS, it was originally standing for Statistical Packages for the Social Sciences, which was first developed in 1968 by Norman Hadley and Dale Bent at Stanford University. Initially, it was designed for analyzing social science data, particularly when we talk about psychology and sociology. But the software was based on the idea of providing researchers with a tool that could perform complex statistical analysis without the need of extensive programming knowledge. So in 1975, SPSS was incorporated as a privately held company headquartered in Chicago. Over the years, SPSS expanded its software offering to include modules for a wide range of statistical analysis, data management, and reporting. And further, it became one of the most leading software package for statistical analysis in various fields. Again, when we include all the streams like social science, health science, and as well as a business and marketing. In 2009, IBM acquired SPSS and integrated the software into a business analytics portfolio. The software was rebranded as IBM SPSS Statistics, but it continued to be developed and maintained as a standalone statistical analysis software. So right now, if we talk about IBM Statistics, it remains a very popular tool for researchers, analysts, and organizations worldwide. SPSS is a user-friendly interface, and it provide tabulated reports, charts, and plots of distribution and trends. So as I earlier shared, like graphical wise, it is really good. So for example, you are a research scholar and you are writing a thesis, and in chapter data analysis, when you are describing about your descriptive data, and further, you have an option, you can use your data in a graphical wise over there, so which actually represent a very good picture, and the person who's reading your thesis and who's reading your paper, who's reading your report, can be easy, it is very easy for him to understand basically. It also include features for data management, data visualization, reporting, and making it a comprehensive tool for researcher and analyst. Talking about key features of SPSS, the first is data management. So when we talk about data management, SPSS provides powerful tool for managing and manipulating data. It allows user to import data from various sources, like we can include Excel, CSV files, and as well as a data set, and as well as it also provide you opportunity to clean and transform data for analysis. It also offers features for data coding, labeling, and variable manipulation, which actually make it easier to work with the complex data set. Further, we'll talk about descriptive statistics. So under descriptive statistics, basically, SPSS is used to summarize and describe the basic feature of a data set. These statistics provide an overview of the data and help in understanding the characteristics. So for example, under descriptive statistics, like if you want to open your data set, you want to fill your data set, further it will give you multiple options, like how you want to analyze your data, how you want to analyze your descriptive data. It will give you option of a descriptive over there, through which you can select your variables, and whatever the variables you want to analyze, you can quickly click over there, and it will shift from a right box dialog box to the left box, and further you can go for the analyzing those datas over there. Then further, once you are done with your data analysis, and then it will provide you a view of the output, where all of the selected variables, like whatever the data, whatever the technique you have applied, it will give you a mean, median, mode, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, all of the statistics over there. And further, you can interpret your results by seeing that particular data over there. Further, we talk about data visualization. When we talk about data visualization, SPSS provides several options for visualizing data. A user can create various type of charts and graphs, such as bar charts, histograms, scatter plots, box plots, to illustrate patterns and trends in the data. So these graphical representation make it easier to interpret and communicate finding from the analysis. Further, we talk about customization, and under customization, we see there are various ways to prepare it. So, like if we want to transform our variable, so this is the option which is provided by SPSS. So you can transform variables in SPSS to create new variable or change the format of existing variable. So for example, you can recode a numeric variable into a categorical variable, or create a new variable by combining or transforming an existing variable. So this is how we can transform our variables uh, under customization. The next is a missing value handling under under customization. So here is the customization. Yes, we can go for missing value handling. So it is very common, like when we go for a data collection in a field, and our respondents, like sometimes they miss the answer of some of the question, and the moment we come back, it is not possible for us to go in a field and to ask them to fill the missing values over there. So SPSS allows you to identify and handle missing values in your data set. You can choose to exclude cases with missing value from analysis, impute missing value using various methods, or treat missing value as a separate category. So these are the options which are given by SPSS. In this particular case, if we see like there are so many missing values, I think it's a better to discard that particular response. If we see like there are very less missing value like a 2, 3, 4, so there are few method in a SPSS that we can see, and we can basically get an average value and we can fill those values over there. But in case our values are missing in a data set and we are not filling it, or we are not doing any kind of a cleaning, so further our data, it will impact on our data in a negative way, or the values of our data analysis will not be in a proper way. So it's a very important basically to fix the missing values. Another option under customization that SPSS provides us, that is a data filtering. So under data filtering, you can filter your data in SPSS to focus on specific subset of cases or variables. This can be useful for conducting analysis on specific group within your dataset or for excluding outliers. With that, another option under customization that SPSS give us, variable and value labels. So in case like we want to label our variables, so this is the another option that SPSS give us. And further, why we label our values, because it is more readable and it is more meaningful. Because when we have a data of 500 respondent or a 700 respondent, it's very important to label those values and as well as a variable, so that further it will be easy for us to interpret all the values in a better way. Labels also provide additional context and explanation for your variable and the values too. Another thing that under customization SPSS provides us, that is a compute and aggregate variables, under which it provides functions for computing new variable based on existing variable. So for example, you have some variable, you have some construct, and the construct is a trust, and another construct is a source credibility, and another construct is a information quality. And further, you want to compute all these variables, all this construct as a one, and you want to analyze their value. So SPSS basically provide you that function through which you can compute all of the construct as a one, and further you can analyze it as a one. So this is a unique feature of SPSS that provides. Sorting and merging of data. Again, SPSS allows you to sort your data based on one or a more variable to organize it in a specific order. You can also merge data set to combine data from multiple sources, or if you want to like go for a single data set for analysis, even you can go for that. Data restructuring is another option under customization in SPSS which is given. So it provides tools for restructuring your data from wide format to long format and vice versa. This can be useful for organizing your data in a format that is suitable for different types of analysis. So these are just a few features or examples which are given, like how basically you can customize your data in a SPSS. So depending on your needs and your data set, basically you can go for the performing these kind of features in a SPSS. Further, we talk about integration, which is another key feature of SPSS. So here it gives us an option to merge file. If you have data in a multiple files and you want to combine, you can use the merge file function. And under this merge file function, there is an option of a data in a top menu. Further, you can select on a merge files, and then you can choose variable, and it will actually help you to merge your files, and it will create a single data set over there. Another option under integration is a add cases. So if you have a new case like in a rows of a data that you want to add to an existing data set, so SPSS actually provide you an option or a function, we can say, where you can add those cases over there. Integration with external data sources, that is another feature under customization, integration you get. SPSS allows you to integrate data from external sources such as Excel file, CSV file, dataset. So yes, you can quickly use all the files over there. So once the data is imported, you can use the merge or add case function to integrate it with your existing files over there. Data transformation is another option under integration which provide. After integrating data, you may need to perform data transformation tasks such as recording the variable, computing new variable, or aggregating data. So SPSS is a unique, like a tool which provide or which perform these tasks to prepare the integrated data for analysis. So further is the automation. Under automation, again there are further few features which are again very unique in a SPSS, and it provide to perform over there. These are the various advantages of SPSS. The first is a user-friendly interface. SPSS has user-friendly interface that makes it easy for both beginners who are just at an initial level and as well as for experienced user to navigate. The menu-driven interface allows user to perform statistical analysis and create visualization without needing to write code. The another advantage is a comprehensive statistical analysis. SPSS offers a wide range of statistical procedure for analyzing data, from basic descriptive statistics to advanced multivariate analysis. This makes it suitable for a variety of research purpose and study design. The third is a data management. Under data management, we see SPSS provide tools for importing, cleaning, and managing dataset. It allows user to handle missing data, restructure dataset, and create new variables, making data preparation in a more efficient way. Under data visualization, SPSS offers a variety of tools for creating chart, graph, plots to visualize data. This helps user to explore their data and communicate their findings in a more effective way. Under integration, SPSS can integrate with other software packages such as Microsoft Excel and a PowerPoint to facilitate data import and export. It also offers integration with programming language like Python and R for more advanced analysis. So these are the another programming techniques like Python and R, which are also used in social sciences researches. Another advantage of SPSS is automation, under which SPSS offer features for automating repetitive tasks such as running analysis on multiple dataset or generating reports. This helps users save time and improve efficiency. So in case like you want to run multiple things on a data set, so yes, like it will save your time, and further it will provide all of the data set in a very effective way. The last one is a support. Under support, we can see the most uh, important advantage of SPSS is it offers comprehensive documentation, tutorial, and user forum to help users learn how to use the software effectively. Additionally, IBM provide technical support for SPSS users. So overall, SPSS is a versatile and powerful software package that, as from advantage and as well as from its essential features we have already seen. So it offers a wide range of features for statistical analysis, data management, data visualization, and as I already mentioned that it is a very user-friendly interface, and with its comprehensive capabilities, it make SPSS make itself in a as a very valuable tool for the researchers and analysts in our various field. These are the practical implications of SPSS, that once you are advanced in SPSS, what are the areas where you can utilize your skill. So here are few areas which are mentioned. So we'll discuss it one by one. The first is a research and academia. So SPSS is widely used in academic research to analyze data from experiment, survey, and observational studies. Researchers in field like psychology, sociology, economics, and political science, they use SPSS to test hypotheses, identify their patterns, and draw conclusions from data. So this is a one area where where we actually use SPSS in a very widely manner. The second area where we can use SPSS is a business and marketing. SPSS is used in business and marketing to analyze market trend, customer preferences, and sales data. So companies basically they use SPSS to conduct market research, segment customer, and to develop marketing strategy based on their insight about data. So of course, like all of the companies who are running their business in a market, they collect data from field, like from their respondent, like wherever they want to launch some product, and further they analyze their data in a SPSS, and they see the trends, and according to those trends they make their strategies. And if somewhere they feel like this is an area where customers are not happy, so it helps them basically to enhance their those weak areas over there. So yes, this is another area where we apply SPSS. The third is a healthcare and medicine. So in healthcare and medicine, SPSS is used in to analyze clinical trial data, patient outcomes, and epidemiological studies. Researchers and healthcare professionals, they use SPSS to identify a risk factor, evaluate treatment effectiveness, and as well as to improve healthcare practices. The fourth area that we see, that is a government and policy. So SPSS is used in government and policy research to analyze data related to public policy, social program, and demographic trends. So policy analysts use SPSS to evaluate policy outcome, forecast future trends, and as well as it helped them to make further decisions regarding those policies. Further, another area that we see it's our education and training. So under this, SPSS is used in a to teach students and professionals about statistical analysis and research method. So many universities and training programs, they include SPSS in their curriculum to prepare students for data-driven and decision-making things too. And you might have seen, like nowadays, if you talk about BBA or an MBA, SPSS and a research methodology is a very common subject which is taught in colleges and universities. So this is another area, if you are really skilled with the SPSS, so that is the one area where you can easily use your skills over there. Another is a quality control and manufacturing. SPSS is used in quality control and manufacturing to analyze production data, identify defects, and improve processes. Manufacturer used SPSS to monitor product quality, optimize production process, and reduce waste. The last one we see, it's a financial services. So SPSS is used in financial services to analyze market data, predict financial trend, and manage risk. So financial analysts basically they use SPSS to make investment decision, assess portfolio performance, and develop financial model. So overall we see SPSS has practical implication across a wide range of field, which help researchers, analysts, and decision makers and make informed decisions based on data-driven insights. In this slide, we are going to talk about various skills that SPSS help us to enhance. As we know, SPSS is a powerful tool for data analysis and statistical modeling. So when we talk especially about a statistical analysis, we see there are many kind of a key skills that SPSS help us to improve. The first is the data management. It helps us to know that how to import, clean, organize data in a SPSS. As we know, this is the most important and the primary step in a data analysis. If we don't know that how to clean data or how to organize data, it will not help us to go at the further step. So it helps us to include handling missing data, creating new variables, and as well as recording variables which are required in a data set. Another thing under statistical analysis that SPSS help us to master ourselves in calculating basic descriptive statistics such as a mean, median, mode. Now these are the descriptive statistics which almost in every thesis like researcher are using. The moment, even though they are going for inferential statistics or some advanced statistics, but they prefer to use mean median mode. So if we know that how to use it, how to calculate it, then only a researcher or a person will be able to do. Inferential statistics, the person will be able to know that how to use t-test, ANOVA, chi-square, correlation analysis, and regression analysis. Another technique that under statistical analysis we will get to know that SPSS help us to get familiarized with the advanced analysis technique like factor analysis, cluster analysis, logistic regression. Syntax programming is another thing that we get to know through the SPSS. It helps us to gain proficiency in writing syntax commands in a SPSS for automating repetitive tasks and performing complex analysis. It also helps us to know that how to interpret the result of statistical analysis in SPSS and effectively communicating your finding while writing your conclusions, and as well as a finding and the last part of your research research thesis, or you can say research paper. The second skill that we talk about, that it is a data management. So under data management we see SPSS help us to import data. We can feed our data in a CSV file, in an Excel file, and further SPSS help us to know that how we can import those files from a Excel to the SPSS in itself. Cleaning data, that is another thing. I think we have already talked about that. That is another thing that where SPSS help us. It helps us in a variable transformation by recoding variables and the other thing. Data restructuring is another data management skill that we get to know by using SPSS, where we can restructure our data by using SPSS, such as reshaping it from a wide to long format or from long format to wide format. By using a data menu and by selecting a restructure, which are the options which are given in a SPSS, we can perform these operations. Merging data under data management, that we can do easily. When we do have a multiple files, we can quickly merge those files, and further we can withdraw our analysis. Data aggregation, under which it helps us to create summary of statistics, such as calculating means or sum of different groups. Data filtering is another option, where SPSS allow us to filter data to focus on specific cases or variables. In the end, we can save our data. That again, SPSS help us to save our data. Once you have cleaned and organized your data, you can save it in a SPSS format. Many times researchers do mistake that they do all the work on a SPSS file. Like it take a lot of time. It like not a minutes but the hours to prepare a sheet on a SPSS, and in the end they don't know how to save that file. So again they have to start from a zero and they have to go through all the process. So again, saving data, it is a one technique that or skill we can say that SPSS help us to know. The third thing is a data visualization. Under data visualization, SPSS help us to understand that how we can understand our data in a better way and how we can communicate those results and findings in a effectively way in our thesis, in a research article, and as well as in a report. Now there are multiple ways through which data is shown in a SPSS. We will discuss that one by one. The first is a histogram. Histograms are used to visualize the distribution of a single variable. So it very clearly it gives us a beautiful like a histogram where we can quickly see the distribution of all the variables in a better way. The second is a bar chart, under which are used to compare the frequency or a proportion of a different category. The third is a pie charts, which are used to show the proportion of a different categories in a data set. So for example, we have collected a data from some community and then we want to see that what is the educational criteria of those people. So we'll get to know how many people were under 10th, how many people have done till +2 qualification, how many were undergraduate, how many were graduate or a postgraduate or above graduate. So pie chart actually give us that different categories of data set. That is a in a visual form. Scatter plots are the another thing that we can see in data visualization in a SPSS. This is used to visualize the relationship between two continuous variables. Line charts are used to show trends or patterns in data over time. So if we want to see for some company that over the period of a time how much they have taken growth in the market, so line chart can help us to know like in which year how much they have grown and in which year they have a less sales. So it gives us a very beautiful representation of a data over there. Box plots are the another visual representation which are used to visualize the distribution of a continuous variable, and it also help us to identify the outliers over there. Customizing graph, SPSS allows us to customize our graph by changing color, font and style, and further we can also add labels, titles and legends to make our graph in a more informative way. Exporting graph, once we have created a graph in SPSS, we can quickly export to various format such as a image file or PDF or for use in a report or a presentation. The next skill that SPSS enhance in us is efficiency. Now, when we talk about efficiency, it can be improved by following best practices in a data management analysis and reporting. Few of the things that we see, especially when we are using SPSS, that keyboard shortcuts, which plays a very integral part in a while using the SPSS. So it helps us to learn and use keyboard shortcuts to navigate SPSS quickly. Of course, it speed up your workflow, especially for tasks like opening file, running analysis and formatting output. The second is using templates. So SPSS also help us to create template for commonly used analysis or reports. It save a lot of time, and as well as we can reuse predefined setting and formats in further data set. Automation of data, like if we do have a repetitive task, so automation will be there. It can be particularly useful for data cleaning, variable transformation and complex analysis. Data reduction is another skill that we can learn in under SPSS. If your data is too large and you want to reduce its size by selecting a subset of cases or variables for analysis, so SPSS actually help you to reduce that data. It will help you to compare the it will help you to reduce that data without compromising with the result. So even if you are reducing some respondents like responses, like your result will not be compromised over there. So this is another skills that we can learn through SPSS. Optimizing setting, it also helps us to adjust SPSS setting to optimize performance. For example, you can increase the memory allocation for SPSS, or even we can adjust the default output options to reduce the amount of output generated. It also helps us to learn the advanced technique, advanced features such as programming in a Python or a R within a SPSS, and as well as to leverage additional functionality and improve efficiency. The fifth part is a versatility. Under versatility, we see that, as we know, SPSS is a versatile tool and it offers a wide range of functions for data analysis, statistical modeling. Under statistical analysis, as we have already discussed, it includes descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, factor analysis, cluster analysis, and many other mixed model even, or we talk about a correlation or regression. It helps us to analyze all of those kind of a data set. With that, we see it helps us to go for the programming capabilities, under which it helps us to write and execute syntax script which can automate repetitive tasks and customize analysis. We can also integrate Python and R script within the SPSS for advanced programming and analysis. Now it depends on our data, like we want to use only SPSS or we want to integrate Python or a R script with the SPSS. So it totally depends on our data, what kind of analysis we want. Another thing is our reporting. SPSS also enable user to generate a detailed report with the tables, charts, and statistical summary. Reports can be customized to meet specific formatting requirement and can be exported to various formats for sharing or publication. In the one go itself, it provides a multiple pie charts and as well as a summary of your whole data set. So it is very easy to quickly get your findings from that on a one page itself. SPSS can also help us to know that how to integrate with other software tools and dataset, and further how to extract a result from those analysis. In the end, we say like it, despite its advanced capability, even SPSS is designed in this way, which is very user friendly. So when even like even if a person is at a beginner level, like if he'll practice for some days or some weeks, hands-on practice he'll do on some data set, so he'll quickly able to learn that how to use SPSS. Further in integration, we see SPSS can connect to various database system. Under integration, we see it helps us to connect with the various database system, just like SQL Server, Oracle, or MySQL, which allows user to import data directly from a databases for analysis. And this integration streamline the data import process and also eliminate the need for a manual data entry. File format compatibility, that is another thing in the integration we see. It actually save a lot of time, and again it is very useful for the users. Syntax and scripting, that is another thing that SPSS allows users to write syntax script to automate repetitive tasks and customize analysis. Additionally, user can also integrate advanced technique like advanced programming, as I discussed earlier, like a Python and R script, even with this syntaxing and scripting. Output and output export, SPSS allows users to export analysis result and reports to various format. It can be in an Excel form, PDF form, HTML. So it depends on a researcher which format is more easy for him to adopt, and accordingly he can export his data and further he can use it. So these features enable user to share their finding with others and as well as integrate them into the presentation and a document, or might be reports or a thesis, anywhere wherever it is required. SPSS extensions under the integration we see, which provide additional functionality and integration capabilities, because when we know like we are using 2-3 techniques, and further again with the Python or a R or a SPSS in a one go, so it helps us to use and integrate those technique in a better way, and as well as its capability for data manipulation and analysis, we can use it in a better way. SPSS also offer integration with the web-based data collection tools such as Qualtrics and a SurveyMonkey, which allows user to import survey data directly into SPSS for analysis. Another thing in our SPSS, that compatibility with the statistical libraries, which integrate with external statistical libraries such as R libraries, which actually help us to access additional statistical procedure and analysis techniques. The next is a decision making. Under decision making, we see SPSS involve using the result of data analysis to make informed decision. Like data exploration. So the moment we have to explore like what kind of analysis technique we want to use. So here SPSS allow us to explore data visually and statistically and help us to understand the pattern and the relationship within the variables and within the data. This exploration can inform your decision about which analysis to conduct, how to interpret the result. So the whole understanding about the data, that which technique to be apply and everything, we can get to know through it. Through predictive modeling, SPSS include tools for building predictive model based on your data set. These model can help you to forecast future trend, identify potential risk, make decision based on likely outcome. Majorly it is used in a market research when you collect data from your respondent, your some like market, and on the basis of that data you will get to know what is the response of the consumer, and further you apply it for your future implications. SPSS also enable us to generate a report that summarize the result of our analysis. Report can be used to inform stakeholders, support decision making, and guide future action. Because if you know that how to use SPSS, but in case like we are working in some company and we have to submit a report, for that it is very important that whatever the data we have analyzed, we have to further write it in a descriptive manner, in a theoretical manner, and then other person will be able to understand that. But in some cases, if other person is quite expert in the SPSS, so if we want to share these files directly with them, so obviously we can share it with them and they will be able to understand about the analysis. Further, we talk about the career opportunities. So there are a lot of career opportunities that we see once a person is skilled in a SPSS. So these are data analyst, statistical analyst, researcher, business intelligence analyst, data scientist, market analyst. So these are the few things that we see like are the career opportunity, but we'll talk about these career opportunity in the next slide in a more detailed manner. How we can use SPSS? So there are few steps that we have to follow, and these are the important steps. We can't exclude any step from this list. The very first thing is that you have to launch SPSS software on your computer. So either you have to download or you have to take it from someone who already have SPSS, but it is very important that you have to launch SPSS software on your computer. The moment you will open, it will further land you on SPSS interface, which consists of a data editor, syntax editor, output window, and the various menus and a toolbar. Further, you have to import your data. So how you can import your data? Either you can feed your data in an Excel sheet, like if you have conducted a data collection from a market from your respondent already, and you can feed all of your data in an Excel file, and you can prepare your Excel file in a good way, in a better way, like all of the responses should be added, and further you can import it in the SPSS. The third thing is once you are done with the importing, the third thing is a data view and a variable view. So even though I'll show you the picture of a data view and a variable view in the next slides. Data view, so basically data editor has a two views. One is a data view and another is a variable view. Data view displays your actual data that you have conducted from your respondent. So suppose you have conducted your data collection on a Likert scale from a 1 to 5. So your responses like might be somebody have respond like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4. So this will be fed in the that you can see in a data view, whereas in a variable view it displays information about your variable. So if you have recoded your variables, like if you have a one construct of a trust and you have a 5 items of a trust, so might be you have coded those items as a T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. So that coding is basically you can see in a variable views, and as well as a labeling of all the variables and the construct, it is also shown over there. I'll show you it in the next slide. Another thing is that is a data cleaning. Now once your data is imported in a SPSS, it's very important that you have to clean your data, because if your data is not clean, you might have a missing value, you might have outliers, you might have some errors in a data entry. For example, you have taken your data on the Likert scale of a 1 to 5, but by mistake while entering data you have entered 7, so 7 will not be counted over there, so it will create problem in your data analysis. So it's very important before proceeding with the data analysis that you must fix all of these issues over there before that. The next is a descriptive statistics. So to calculate the basic descriptive statistics, we always go for a mean, median, standard deviation. And in a SPSS itself, like the options are given over there. Like there is a option to go for the analyst, and once we click on an analyst, further we can select our variables and we can analyze all the descriptive statistics over there. Inferential statistics, under which we include the test t-test, ANOVA, regression, and again under the option of analyze we can go for analysis, and we can proceed with the data analysis. Data visualization, SPSS offer us various tools for data visualization, just like a histogram, bar chart, scatter plot, and a pie chart. So it totally depends on a person what kind of a pictorial representation of his data a person wants. So accordingly he can choose. Like there are few people like who prefer to choose pie charts only. Now there are few people who prefer to choose histograms only. So according to that you can choose, and further you can go for the selection of data visualization. Output and reporting is the next one. Under this, your result of your analysis are displayed in the output window. You can save the output as a file or a copy it to other application for reporting purpose. So it is again important to save it, because otherwise if you not save it again, you have to go for analysis again. So it's a better, like whenever we are going for even the calculating of a Cronbach alpha reliability analysis, it's always important to save our work over there. Next is a saving your work. Yeah, it's important to save your SPSS data file regularly to avoid the losing of your work. So it's a better to save all the files. The last is a closing SPSS. So when you are done with the working in a SPSS, we can click on exit to close the program. So these are the few steps basically how we can use SPSS. So in this course, the material that we'll use in our SPSS, textbook, practice data set, and assignment. For textbook, I can give a reference and of some good authors, and further you can go and read those textbook by your own. Because any textbook like a reading in the class, like it is not possible, but yes, you can read those textbook on your own for your better understanding. The most integral part is a practice data set. Now when we talk about practice data set, it do have a several benefit that how you can learn and improve your skills in a data analysis. So this is the major part where on which we'll actually focus in the class, because the moment you will get a practice data set, it will help you to hands-on learning practices. So working with a real data set, it will help you to understand the theoretical concept but the techniques too, because multiple time you are using those data set, and in case you are having any doubt and you're not able to apply any analysis, so you can quickly ask and it will give you a real challenges that how to deal with that. Practicing with dataset, it will also help you to develop your skill in a data management, statistical analysis, because the moment you have a data sheet itself, it will help you to know that how you can clean your data, how you can prepare your data, and in case you have to conduct some statistical analysis and to interpret your result. So these are all the practical things that you will be able to do in the class. It will also help you to understand the SPSS feature, because in SPSS there are multiple features are there, like how to calculate factor analysis, cluster analysis, t-test, regression, chi-square, even under regression, linear regression, multiple regression. So there are multiple features. So when you will be having a data set and you will actually apply all of the you will actually use all of those features by yourself. It will help you to enhance your skill and as well as to learn in a more efficient and a better way. Using practice data set will help you to know the errors. So suppose you are trying to analyze some data, but there are some errors occurring, like there are some outliers and there are some missing value. So when you are actually doing that, you will be able to analyze those errors, and it will help you to know that these are the issues and how you can basically resolve those issues. So these are the things basically. So yes, majorly we'll focus on a practice data set, and that will actually help you to understand in a more better way that how to basically proceed with all the SPSS features. The third thing is a assignment. There will be no assignment like where you will get the marks, but assignment is like might be a data set. I'll provide you some data set and I'll ask you to do practice like when you are free at your home, and further you can proceed for that. So yes, the few things will be given to you, and on your own, by your own, you can do at a home, which will be considered as a assignments. Here are the various career opportunities that you can have after getting skilled in a SPSS. So the first is a data analyst. As a data analyst, you can use SPSS to analyze data, to interpret result, to provide insight, to support decision making in an organization. Like whenever you're working in any organization, whether we talk about the IT organizations or we talk about any other organization, like, and we know like data analyst job, it is a kind of a boom in a market already. So this role is a common across industries like a finance, healthcare, marketing, and a government, and as well as in a IT sector. So yes, this is a one opportunity you have. The second is a market research analyst. Under market research analyst, you can use SPSS to analyze market trends, customer behavior, and competitive landscape. You can work in a marketing agencies, corporation, and as well as a consulting firm, because through SPSS you will be able to know that what kind of a trends are going in a market for some particular products for whichever you are doing an analysis, and it will actually help you to know the future prediction of that particular product. So yes, this is another career opportunity. Statistical analyst can use SPSS to perform advanced statistical analysis like regression analysis, factor analysis, cluster analysis. So you can work in research institution and consulting firms and government agencies. So in case like if like there are uh, some like a college, or we can say universities, where they need a statistical analyst, because nowadays even in a bachelor degree or in a PG program, this is one course which is quite focused. So if you are advanced in this, so might be you can provide training to the BBA and the MBA students. So this is another option. Another is a business intelligence analyst, uh, where you can use SPSS to analyze business data and provide insights to provide business performance. You can work in industries like retail, finance, and healthcare. So these are the areas basically where you can work as a business intelligence analyst. Another is an academic researcher. SPSS plays a very great role over here. As a researcher, basically, you can use SPSS for data analysis in various fields such as social science, psychology, and education. And you can use SPSS to analyze the research data and publish findings in an academic journal, especially if a person is doing a PhD or a person have a vision to further work in a university or a college as a professor or a lecturer. So it is very important for them to be skilled in a SPSS area. Another thing is a healthcare analyst. Under this, SPSS is used to analyze healthcare data such as patient outcome, treatment effectiveness, and healthcare cost. You can work in a hospital, healthcare organization, and research institutions, where you can actually collect data from a patient, from a market, or might be some trends which are going in the market, like related to the hospital institutions. So yeah, you can work in this area too. Another is a government analyst, where SPSS2 can be used to analyze data related to the public policy, social program, and government services. you can work in a government agencies at the local, state, and a federal level. As we know, like there are many government organizations which are at a central level, state level, and a local level. So even though if we talk about a tourism industry, we have all the state boards, for the promotion of a tourism, travel and tourism. So even though those are the areas where if you are skilled with the SPSS, you can give your uh, recommendation to the government on the basis of analyzed data that you are able to do. The last is a consultant. If you are skilled in a SPSS, it provides a data-driven solution to clients in a various industry. It depends on you in which industry you want to work. Like even if you want to work as a freelance and you want to provide consultancy to the IT sector or healthcare sector or might be some other sector. But yes, you can quickly provide good consultancy to those industries. You can work independently, as I said, like a freelance or a part of a consulting firm. You can help the clients and you can inform decisions based on your data analysis. So these are the various career opportunities, and as we look on all the roles, so these are the roles which are actually very demanding role in the market. In SPSS, data can be analyzed in three basic ways. The first is a describe, the second is a examine, and the third is a compare. Now we see the difference of these three ways. Under the describe, we see it the descriptive analysis, and under which we can basically go for a mean, median, mode, standard deviation. These are the analysis that we can do. Under examine, basically we see the relationship between variables like correlation, regression, factor analysis. So it helps us to determine the relationship between variables. For example, we see rain and the production of a crops, and we want to see the relationship between these two variables, so we can use correlation for that how rainfall impact or how rainfall is related to the production of crops, right? So for these kind of a relationship, we go for a examine way through which we can either apply correlation or we can apply regression over there. The third is a compare. Under compare, we basically do have a 3-4 categories, and we compare groups to determine if there are significant differences between these groups, and we can analyze those groups basically on the basis of a t-test, ANOVA. These are the very uh, famous test basically that we can apply over there. A data editor window, as even though we in the slide where we were talking about how to use SPSS, we were talking about this. So it consists of two tabs, data view and a variable view. Under data view, you can see your actual data arranged in rows and columns, and each row represent a case or observation and each column represent a variable. You can enter data directly into cells in this view, and you can also you can edit existing data and navigate through your data set. Whereas when we talk about a variable view, under this you can see information about your variables such as their names, labels, types, and measurement level. You can also define variable properties if you want to see like what are the variables label, value labels, and as well as missing values. So these views allows users to set up their data set and define how SPSS should treat each variable during analysis. So even though in a pictorial way, if you want to see, so here this is a data view where basically you can enter your data, and this is the variable view where basically you can do a coding of your items and construct, and further type is there, width is there, decimals are there, labeling you can do, which actually define that your this particular item is related to what. In a short form you can just define over there. Values, which is again an integral part, you can define the values over there. And in case you are doing at a Likert scale, so you have to define all the values from 1 to 5, like 1 stands for strongly disagree, 2 stands for disagree, and 3 stands for neutral, 4 stands for agree, 5 stands for strongly agree. So in this way you have to define all of your values over there. So this is a variable view. These are the various statistical techniques which we'll cover in our course. The first is a factor analysis, and which is a very important technique we use in a research. So this is a statistical technique which is used to reduce a large number of variable into a smaller number of factors or dimension. We commonly use in research to identifying the underlying factor that explain the pattern of a correlation among variable. Now there are several purposes that why we use factor analysis in research. The first one is a dimension reduction. Factor analysis help us to reduce the number of variable in a data set by identifying that which factor is underlying that explain the correlation among the variables. So it also helps us to simplify the analysis and make it easier to interpret the data. Factor analysis also help us to identifying the underlying factor or latent variable which are not directly observable but influence the observed variable. So for example, we talk about some area like psychology. So factors like intelligence, personality trait or attitude, it underlie the response to a set of a survey question. And as well as sometime what happened, there are few items which we think like it is related to a two construct, and factor analysis help us to understand this item is related to which construct more closely, right? So in this way we are able to understand about the that which item will fall under which category. By identifying underlying factor, factor analysis also help us to reduce the complexity of our data and provide a more concise summary of our relationship among the variable. Another thing is that it helps us to identify that which variable are more important or relevant in explaining the underlying factor. So it helps us to understand that about that which variable is more useful, and further we can go for the analysis of those variables only. Factor analysis often used as an exploratory tool to investigate the structure of the data, and as well as it helps us to generate hypotheses for the further research. We use factor analysis to validate the construct or theoretical concept which are made by a set of variable. It helps us to determine whether the observed variable are consistent with the underlying theoretical construct or not. It also helps us to improve the measurement scale, which is used in a study by identifying redundant or overlapping item and redefining the measurement model. Now, when we use factor analysis, there are some criteria of the value, and we are able to understand if the value of item is below than this threshold, then we always prefer to remove that item, because that is deviating from our whole factor analysis and as well as disturbing our whole data set. So we prefer to just delete those items from our data set. So overall, when we talk about factor analysis, we consider it as a very valuable tool which help us to explore and underlying structure of a data, and it reduce the complexity and as well as it generate the hypothesis in a research. So it is widely used in the field when we talk about psychology, sociology, marketing, education, for the better understanding of a complex relationship among the variables. The second test that we'll talk about, that is a reliability test. So reliability test is a statistical technique which is used to assess the consistency and stability of a measurement scale. So it is commonly used in all stream, we can say, whether we talk about education or we talk about other areas where we can easily determine the reliability of a survey question, scale or test. So when we do a reliability analysis, so it helps us to assess the consistency or stability of a measurement instrument such as survey or test over time or across different conditions. It also indicates the extent to which the instrument produces consistent result. It also helps us to to control the quality to ensure that measurement instruments are reliable and produce consistent result. So this is crucial for maintaining the accuracy and validity of data collected in a research or in a other application. It also helps us to know the validity of the result. The measurement instrument are essential for obtaining valid result in a research, as we know. So if a measurement instrument is not reliable, the result obtained from it may not be accurately reflect the true characteristics of the variable which are measured in a analysis. It also helps us to compare the result. So by ensuring that a result obtained from a different studies or a different at different times are comparable, and we can quickly just draw the conclusions based on the cumulative evidences from the multiple studies. Another test that we will use that is a correlation. When we talk about correlation, it is a statistical technique which is used to measure the strength and the direction of the relationship between two or a more variable. We commonly used this research to assess the degree to which changes in one variable are associated with changes in the another variable. As I gave you example, the rainfall and the production of a crop. So in case we want to see the relationship between these two variables, we have to go for the correlation. There are several types of correlation coefficient that can be used to quantify the relationship between variables. The most common is that we use in a correlation is the Pearson correlation coefficient, and which actually measure the linear relationship between two continuous variable. And when we see the range, the range is always considered as a -1 to +1. So value should always lie between -1 to +1. So if it is a -1, it indicates the perfect negative linear correlation. +1, it indicates the perfect positive linear correlation. And 0 indicate no linear relationship. Further, we are talking about regression. So regression analysis is a statistical method used to examine the relationship between one dependent variable and one or more independent variable. It also helps us to understand that how the value of a dependent variable change when one or a more independent variable are changed. So for example, we talk about information adoption, that how consumer adopt information from a computer based information. Like if a person is traveling to Himachal or Uttarakhand, and then what are the various factors, like will be there when he adopt a information. So from a reviews or a rating, because nowadays it is very common that we always prefer to adopt reviews or a rating whenever we are going to visit a destination. So might be there are few factors, like a information quality or a source credibility. We prefer to see like from which source we are adopting information, what is the quality of information, how much accurate information is. Then further, trust, how much we do trust on the site from where we are adopting information. If we are adopting information from a YouTube and the video is made by some content creator, like by some user, so obviously we'll trust on that vlog more as compared to the official website, right? And further, we see the impact of these three things on a consumer buying behavior, right? So buying behavior will be a dependent variable, and whereas the information quality, source credibility, trust, these will be the independent variable. So regression or like multiple regression, because we do have a multiple independent variable here, so it will help us to know that how dependent variable, that buying behavior will get changed as there will be changes in the information quality, source credibility, and trust, which are the independent variable, right? So there are few types of regression that we'll talk even in the course. Linear regression is there, multiple regression is there. Linear regression is used when the relationship between the dependent variable and one or a more independent variable is assumed to be linear. It is used to predict the value of the dependent variable based on the value of the independent variable. Whereas when we talk about the multiple regression, it is an extension of a linear regression that allows for more than one independent variable. It is used when there are multiple factors that may influence the dependent variable. Further, we'll talk about ANOVA. ANOVA, or we also call it as the analysis of variance, which is a statistical technique used to compare the means of two or more groups to determine if they are statistically significant differences between them. It is based on the assumption that the samples which are drawn from a population that follow a normal distribution. So it actually helps us to compare means, a researcher can compare the means of a three or more groups simultaneously rather than comparing pairs of groups separately. So this can help identify overall differences between groups more efficiently. It also provides a statistical test to determine if the differences between group means are statistically significant. This helps researchers determine if the observed differences are likely to be due to the independent variable being studied rather than the random chance. So I'll give you an example. If we see in a demographic profile, when we conduct, data, when we conduct a survey from a market. So if we have conducted a data and we see the education qualification, for this there are four categories like undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate, and above graduate. Now we want to see the differences in the perception of these categories, that what they think about buying behavior for some product. So we'll see how undergraduate perceive that product, how graduate perceive, how postgraduate people perceive, and how above postgraduate people perceive. So when we do have our categories more than two, we always prefer to use ANOVA over there. Another test that is over here, it is a t-test. It is a statistical test which is used to determine if there is a significant differences between the means of our two groups. It is based on the assumption that the samples are drawn from population that follows a normal distribution. So for t-test, it is similar like ANOVA. It helps us to compare the means. So, and as well as it is a very simple and easy to use. It's a flexible, it can be used with the different types of data, including interval and a ratio, as long as the data meet the assumption of the test. T-test also allow us to test assumptions about the data, such as the normality of the data distribution and the homogeneity of a variance of a between group. So t-test, I'll give you example. If we want to see the differences on the basis of a gender. So for some product, if we want to see the perception of a gender, where under gender we have taken two categories, male and a female. So we have two categories here only, just a male and a female. So we can use t-test over here. But in case we have more than two categories, like under income we always have a more than a 3 to 4 category. Under educational qualification we always have a 3 to 4 categories. Under marital status, even we prefer to take single, married, divorce, separated, like this, which is again more than a 2 categories. So there we have to perform always ANOVA over there. So these are the various statistical technique that we will cover when we'll go for a course. So here are the topics which will be covered in a SPSS course. The first is an introduction to SPSS, where we'll talk about the basic information of SPSS software, how to do a data entry in all the files, whether we talk about Excel file, we talk about CSV file, we talk about other files even, and the manipulation or data management, how we can do that over there even, like if there are missing value, how we can fix that, how we can clean our data, and if there are some outliers, how again like our data sheet can be prepared for a analysis. Another thing is a data import and export. Data we can import from a multiple files, as we know, from a Excel, from a CSV file, even there are some other formats too. So we'll talk about all the formats where we can use which we can use to feed the data, and then further how to import that data into SPSS, because sometimes people collect data online. So the moment they are collecting data online, it's a very obvious, they are receiving their data in a Excel sheet automatically through the Google forms. So when you have already data feeder in your Excel file, so how basically we can import those data into SPSS. The third is a descriptive statistics, where we'll talk about mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance. It's obvious we'll talk like how to calculate these all the values, but we'll talk about that what actually mean means, then median, like what actually these central tendency and the variabilities are, because many time it happen like people know how to calculate it, but they don't know what is the meaning of a standard deviation, or they don't know what is the meaning of a median or a mode or a variance. So I think it's very important first to have a fundamental understanding of these all calculating measures, that what are these, and further if we are calculating it, what each value means. So we'll talk in a detail about these all the values in our course. Then is a graphical representation of data. As we know, it is again a very integral part if a person is using SPSS, because whether you are making reports or you're making your research articles to publish in journal or in some book as a book chapter, or you're writing thesis, in a data analysis and interpretation chapter, you always go for a pictorial representation. So how to create histogram, bar chart, pie charts, and how to make all the graphs for better visualization, we'll talk about that. Then data transformation, where we'll talk about recoding variable and computing new variables, because it always happen like if we are calculating variables as independent variables, but we have to compute it for to see the value of all the variables as a one. So computing new variables, that how to do it, and recoding variable, we'll talk about that too. Then is the data cleaning, will handle the missing data part and entry errors and correcting data, correcting numerical value. If there are some outliers, how we'll do that, we'll go for that too. Then further we'll talk about statistical analysis, under which we'll talk about how to perform t-test, how to apply ANOVA, regression analysis, correlation, reliability analysis. So basically all of these tests will do in our classes, and as well as a data set will be provided to you, where you can do a practice session in the class, and as well as when you are at a home you can do it by yourself, because this practice on a data set only will help you to understand in a more better way. So these tests will be covered in the classes. Further in advanced topic, we'll talk about a factor analysis, because like if you are doing an exploratory study and you want to understand about your variables, and then you want to do an exploratory factor analysis, so it's obvious you have to go for a factor analysis technique. So we'll talk about a factor analysis in the course itself. Then reporting and presenting of a result. Many times it happened that researchers are able to know that how to calculate the mean, median, standard deviation, how to go for a descriptive statistics and a inferential statistics, even the advanced statistics too, but they don't know how to represent their result in a more written form, like if when you are writing in a paper or you are writing in a thesis itself. So formatting output for a report, or how to export those file in a Word, Excel, PowerPoint, it will be discussed in the class, even though like if you are writing in a thesis, that how basically you can withdraw the information from the SPSS itself, and which are the relevant things that you need to mention in your reports and in your thesis. Then hands-on project, yeah, there will be multiple data sheets which will be given to you, which will actually help you to enhance your skills on a SPSS. And if you have any query related to any kind of a technique that we are using in a class, so quickly you can ask, and then further your queries will be solved over there. So basically hands-on project will be the most integral part, I feel, because it will help you to face all the challenge, but as well as it will help you to fix all the errors in the class itself. So this is the most important thing, I think, which will again apply in our classes over there.